I want to address, especially, you might have seen the notice, young people. You are young, still in your 30s, but still young. And I want people to realize just how the current government screws younger Americans under 40. And I'll have at the end of this a question that you could answer. Why? But I want you to recognize how those who are young are not helped by Congress. Number one, they say, ooh, college is more affordable if you want to go to college. No, it's not. And here's why. They give guaranteed student loans. Now, Travis, does that make it any more affordable? Possible, but then you got to pay it back. Okay, because you're going to bankrupt. You're going to say, I'm wiping it out. But how could possibly you have big student loans and you know you're never going to pay it back? You're not going to make enough money? Hopefully one of these days you will. Oh my God. All right, so you answered my... Okay. Now, you might get that under me. And let me say, there's only two groups that I offer welfare to because I don't like government. Well, exactly. Now, you might be, though, a recipient because a lot of young people were lied to about, oh, the affordability of college, you'll pay it off. You'll get these big jobs at investment banks if you want to. And it's not true. It's true for a small segment, but you're not going to do that if you're staying in southern Vermont. And they don't do telecommuting well enough yet so that you could use your brains to help a New York or a Boston firm. You're absolutely right. So meanwhile, you rack up big debt. Sometimes you think you could get out of it. You may be right. You better hope for that. By the way, the other reason why it gets costly, because there's a student loan backup, the cost of the college goes up. It doesn't really cost $70,000 a year to be at Bennington or Dartmouth. It costs less than that. But if they can get the guaranteed student loan, why not? Hello, crew. Welcome aboard. Just talking about why young people kind of get screwed by government. So let me go to number two. Some of you guys have maybe an Obamacare regulation. Now, I want you to recognize you are almost certainly healthier than almost everybody who is 50 years old, and certainly than 70s and 80s. But you pay in far more than you get out. The other problem with Obamacare, there's regulations that say big employers aren't going to hire you if it's full-time work. They used to be, hey, 40 hours a week, great, do some overtime, fine. Now, because they don't want to pay Obamacare, they end up only offering 29 hours. And so you got to get 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs. Hard to get seniority in a job where you're only 29 hours a week. Hard to get you got to be really outstanding. You didn't used to. You used to be able to prove yourself. I think you have the skills, but do I want to take you on for what is, as an employer, a big commitment? If you quit, I still have to pay your state workers' compensation. I still have to pay into the insurance fund. So it's a bigger hurdle for me as an employer to say, hey, can I just check him out? With Obamacare, it got one step even bigger than that, because if it's working out, now I got to pay even more. Now, final thing is, the government's indebting itself, but that mostly means you, under 40s, needing to pay that back. The deficit right now is $1 trillion. Okay, we're spending about 4.4 trillion. We're taking in 3.35. Who's going to pay that back? Not the 70-year-olds. It's going to be people who are under 40 who may not even have the ability to take it back, to pay it back. You'd have to be taxed at a 60% rate. That's without a Bernie or an Elizabeth Warren in power. That's with the current autopilot just doing what Congress for the last 30 years has allowed it to do. And of all times, I mean, this really is a very good economy. This is a time where you should never have a deficit. But Congress doesn't really care, and Trump goes along with it, thinking, oh, we'll just foist it on younger people. That is totally unfair. So now the question back to Travis. Why is the government unfair to young people? Are you going to be around literally in the United States if you have a 60% tax rate on your wage? Or you'd go to Ireland? Or the no? All right. Well, you're sticking it out. But generally, I'll look for other answers. Why does the government almost intentionally screw younger people? In a way, yes. Okay, but they don't screw the older people. Older people get. That's the reason. The older people vote in a huge proportion. Younger people, her age, Hazel, are you going to vote? Good. You're rare though, because people your age, I'm guessing you're under 25, the ratio is about 19% will go to the polls. So politicians pay attention, not to you guys, you're not a force. But if you're over 75, that's all they do is pay attention to the news and CNN and vote. Not there yet. Not there yet. I'd allow it. I'd certainly allow it. It makes sense. Young people get it. You can telecommute. You can get educated on the phone. There are very few things that aren't electronic anymore. But guess what? If you're in government service, they still have old-fashioned forms. They still have old-fashioned, you've got to roll into the voting booth. I think voting was kind of fun. But if you are working 2 jobs and have a hard time getting away during the period, it's tough to get in there. I'm glad you're going to do it. And you're going to do it. All right. It is. And you got 2 chances. I mean, this primary is going to settle on who the Democrat nominee will be. But then Trump versus whoever it is, it looks like Bernie right now. That's going to be vicious. But maybe it should be. Because the vision of socialism for all, where the government is forcing businesses to do things its way, forcing higher education to do things its way, and even forcing speech on you. There's speech codes that the far left want to do, and if you want to say anything on the conservative side, nope, you can't. It's a big difference from what Trump is asking, or even take Trump out of the picture. If you had Pence or any normal Democrat, I'm calling Bernie not a normal Democrat. It's an aberration from your father's Jimmy Carter, Walter Mondale, even George McGovern. As a Democrat, they said he was far left. Bernie is way far to the left of that. All right. Thank you for listening. I am here for more if you need it. Meanwhile, I'll get some food. All right, guys. Thanks.